Okay, here are the odds. Chiefs still in the driver's seat. Chargers have jumped up to 2. And then Hubs' Raiders.
I mean, yeah.
And then, yikes, the Broncos way back there.
Yeah, okay.
Any chance the Chargers win the West?
No, you know, if we only did 2 shows this week, but if we had done a full 5 days worth of shows and it was Friday, I would have said we could just replay this same segment we've done the last 4 years around July. Is this the Chargers year? No, the answer is always no.
No, they have a new coach.
Okay, so 3 years ago.
Yeah.
When they got rid of Anthony Lynn to bring in young genius Brandon Staley, who Brew didn't hate yet, that was going to be the moment. And then when they did show some improvement that season, and then they went out and signed Khalil Mack and J.C. Jackson because they were going for it.
I did.
That was going to be their moment. And then when they finally broke through and made the playoffs, and yes, the playoff game was a hard one to swallow, but people loved the Quentin Johnston pick. Oh my God, Herbert's got 3 number 1s. They got rid of J.C. Jackson. That didn't work. That was going to be their moment. And now, after 5 wins, it's like, no. Jim Harbaugh's here. Even though they lost all those wide receivers and they lost J.C. Jackson a while ago, he's been gone, and they restructured Mack and they were able to keep both. Now this is going to be no, it's not their moment. It's no one's moment. And Daniel Jeremiah, who was sounding very, and I like Daniel as well, very smart in the beginning. And then when he was hemming and hawing about whether or not, Andy Reid is in the conversation for Mount Rushmore, that means you're like 7th or 8th all time. Give me a break. He's in the conversation for top 4. Like, come on. But yeah, the team with maybe the greatest coach ever and maybe the greatest player ever, that team when they're both in their prime, even though Florio thinks they're both a day from retiring at any given moment, that team's going to keep winning the division, Brew. So yeah, no, there's no chance the Chargers win the division.
Yeah, what was the question?
Any chance?
Any chance?
No. No? Next question.
Well, we don't have another question.
No, and here's the thing that, and I've talked about this in regards to winning the 3rd straight Super Bowl, which we know they're motivated by. But last year, the Chiefs go 11-6. Worst regular season record for Patrick Mahomes as a starter. Patrick Mahomes, we know individually, this guy wants to be the GOAT. Individually, his season last year, now obviously it wasn't all his fault, but he didn't have the type of individual season, stat-wise, that he wants to have. He had his worst passer rating ever, his lowest yards per game average ever, his worst TD percentage, worst interception percentage, and worst yards per attempt ever. I think that's all going to motivate Patrick Mahomes. And we all like some of the receivers, Hollywood Brown and the rookie that they added. I don't think complacency is even on the table for these Chiefs, even though they're coming off 2 straight Super Bowls. And that is another thing that's working against these Chargers. And like Nick mentioned, they lost so many guys. Austin Eckler, who was one of their leaders, like their best running back.
Brew loves old running backs.
Yeah.
Do you add an old running back?
Eckler was a leader.
It's like me drafting a fantasy. I'm like, this guy started.
Eckler was a leader. So, no. They can
make the playoffs?
be second and fight for the playoffs. That's where they're at.
Here's Chargers' schedule. Their win total, what was it at, Hubs? 8.5? Chargers' schedule. I'm just saying they could start off, if you beat the Chiefs September 29th, I'm just saying if. It's a home game against the Chiefs. That's all I'm saying. I'm still a Chiefs team.
What are you about to give us
I'm just saying, look, you got the Raiders, dub. You got Carolina, W. Pittsburgh,
Pittsburgh, they're going to be underdogs.
That's not going to be easy.
They're going to be underdogs.
You believe in Pittsburgh's quarterback situation? I don't.
Well, it might be Justin
Did you
Fields.
believe in it last year when they won 10 games?
I don't believe in Pittsburgh, period.
Okay.
But all they do is win.
500. They get to 500.
That's the same with the Chargers.
Right.
I'm
believing in the Chargers a little bit this year. I'm getting a few chips on the Chargers roulette wheel.
Pittsburgh,
they can get hot is what I'm saying. You got to buy. You've got the Broncos. You've got the frisky Cardinals. The Saints. All of a sudden, it's week 9. You're like, hold on. We're actually okay. People are getting scared of us. Harbaugh's figuring it out. Harbaugh's running the ball.
Definitely. 5-2 is on the board. That'd be good, but they're not going to win the division.
This is right. So this is.
I'm not saying I'm saying that you can believe in them a little bit, but a few chips there.
Okay, so that's a different question, I think, but that we can do, which is whether or not the Chargers are going to have the best year of the Herbert era, which would be like 10 wins, a wild card berth, and not a mortifying playoff loss. Like that's the bar for the best year of the Herbert era. Meanwhile, this is the context for, because I think some more interesting questions are the Chiefs going to run down the Patriots record of consecutive division titles? Because we can show you that, which is we're at 8. Your guys' Patriots are at 11. A couple asterisks attached.
Actually, no. There's dare the graphics department.
But it is 8 to 11. And then there is
Can I pause here for a second?
Yeah, let's
the
see.
one thing that we benefited from is we never had a Justin Herbert in the AFC East. I'm just saying that's just,
I agree, but I also think that Justin Herbert right now you're right. He's better than any quarterback you guys had to deal with.
it's a little Patriots diss.
It's definitively true. Like the Bills didn't have a quarterback for 20 years.
Dolphins.
The Jets briefly had Chad Pennington for, you know what I mean? That was correct. And the Dolphins briefly also had Chad Pennington, and that was it. So yes, I agree with you on that front. But the Chargers took their shot and whiffed, and now are retooling. That's the problem. The reason they had to move on from Keenan and Mike Williams was because they spent that money on those things. Meanwhile, Mahomes versus this Chargers team, and then also we can show it versus the AFC West as a whole. Mahomes versus the Chargers. It's kind of Mahomes versus everybody. Sure. Wins 80% of his games and is great. And then Mahomes against the AFC West. This is why no one can compete with the Chiefs. Because every year, no one's ever gone 2-0 against them. You usually go 0-2 against them, and you hope for 1-1. In the last 5 years, the Chiefs have won the division by an average of 4 games. It's a 17-game season.
Yeah.
And what does that mean as far as his history? Mahomes versus the AFC West is the best bet of any quarterback in league history. Better than Brady versus the AFC East. Better than Steve. So it's just not. I'm
with you, Wilds, in that I expect to see improvement, and I expect them to be right there in the playoff hunt. But to win the division over the Chiefs,
no, I'm not saying that. I had my throne coffee this morning, so I'm still a Mahomes guy. The Patriots feasted on the incompetence of the franchises, and Mahomes did something similar, and the Chargers trying to get right. They're great, but there's a little combo. Greatness and a little bit of incompetence.
We have to. This might be Dusty's last day on the show.
Wow, Dusty, congratulations. Where are you going?
This is going to be the most painful thing he's ever had to do. Dusty,
this hurts.
Bring out the board.
This hurts.
With your guy's face plastered on.
Wow.
Daniel Jeremiah. Hosts the show Dusty wishes he worked on.
Sorry.
We even put his name, first guy ever to get his name on the board. Chargers win the division. And Daniel, if you're watching, Dusty did this whole artwork and everything. The whole reason you're on there is because of him.
The board is getting heavy.
The board's getting heavy already. It's early.
The
backside of it's still all the way covered from last year.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.